We continue to follow breaking news out of Red Lion, where a continued police presence searching for a man, Robert Vicosa, who apparently abducted his 2 kids at gunpoint. This is the scene right now, right off of Route 74 at Boxwood Road. A heavy police presence, state troopers on the scene. Now, just moments ago, we confirmed Robert Vicosa is a former police officer in Baltimore County. The department confirming those details, as well as saying that he was terminated in August. A database saying that he rose to the ranks of sergeant for that department in the Dundalk region. Now, this is a picture of Robert Vicosa. Again, about 2:40 today, he apparently broke into a home in Windsor Township armed with a gun. He held that gun against a female, eventually taking her car and his 2 children, those 2 girls, 6 and 7-year-old. At this point, police are searching for both Vicosa and his 2 daughters. Now, again, this is a heavy police presence in this area. It's believed that this is where Vicosa's car that he stole was found. At this point, we don't have any details of whether he or his daughters have been located at this point. We've seen the Pennsylvania State Police helicopter over top for a better part of about 45 minutes to an hour, really focusing on this area, as well as police with guns and even a rifle drawn at certain times. Both state police and York Area Regional Police working this case. So, of course, we'll keep an eye on this. A very active situation in Red Lion as police search for a suspect and his 2 daughters that were abducted at gunpoint earlier this afternoon. Live in Red Lion, Michael Gorsinger, CBS 21 News.
CBS 21 News begins with breaking news.
And this is the situation we have been following throughout the rest of the afternoon. Right now, a frantic search continues for 2 girls taken from a home in York County, and police are looking for this man, 42-year-old Robert Vicosa. He's considered armed and dangerous, and we've just learned he's a former police officer from Baltimore County. Good evening, everybody. I'm Joel D. Smith. Let's get right to our team coverage on this as the manhunt continues. CBS 21's Nick Volturo is there with a member of law enforcement. We're going to check in first with him.
Yeah, thanks, Joel D. I'm here with Ken Schellenberger from the York Area Regional Police Department. Now, can you just tell us a little bit about where we stand right now as this investigation continues?
Yes, we're actively looking for Mr. Robert Vicosa. He's a black male born in 1979. Our priority right now is that he has his 2 young daughters with him, 4 and 7 years old, and we have reason to believe that over the last 24 to 48 even 72 hours that he may have been involved in several violent acts, and we want to bring this to a resolution, bring those little girls home.
Anything you can tell us about the violent acts that that the public needs to be aware of?
We don't want to release a whole bunch of information right now because we don't want to do anything that would lead these little girls to be in any more danger than they possibly are. But we do know that he is potentially armed. He has his 2 little girls with him. He has been involved in some violent acts with some family members, and we have everything at our disposal to try to bring these little girls back. They're 4 and 7 years old. It's cold out here tonight. We have Pennsylvania State Police in Red Lion Borough and the Sheriff's Department, some K-9 units, York County Quick Response Team, all at our disposal to bring these little girls home.
And we also were able to confirm he is ex-Baltimore Police Department. So with those specialized training skills, does that make it even more critical to get this search over with quickly?
It's good intelligence to have. It's good information to have because he may have some specialized training. But we are always looking at these situations from the scenario that anybody may have specialized training. So we're going to go above and beyond to use our tactics to counter whatever he may have so that we can bring these little girls home.
Now, what kind of tactics, for anyone knows? I mean, I've seen search choppers up in the air. We've seen a lot of cars on the ground. I mean, how long, how many crews do we have out? I'm sure we have a lot of different agencies assisting.
Right. So Red Lion Borough has Pennsylvania State Police, and we are York Area Regional Police, and we cover this whole surrounding area. Any law enforcement agency that's looking for little girls is going to come to our assistance, and they have all been offering. So right now we have numerous units, numerous different departments, and we're going to do the best we can to get this to a resolution and find these little girls.
And, is there any way the public can help?
We're looking for, like I said, a black male born in 1979, a 4 and 7-year-old with her or with him. And if they happen to see anybody that matches that description, that may be looking for some warm clothing, maybe looking for some food or a place to stay, they may be just out walking on foot. So if anybody would happen to see that, we would appreciate a contact 911 call right away.
Thanks a lot, Ken. I appreciate it. Reporting live in York County, Nick Volturo, CBS 21 News. Mike, over to you.
Just moments ago, it was a very active scene here along Boxwood Road, right off of Route 74 in Red Lion. Apparently has shifted gear. What, a dozen or so what would be York Area Regional Police officers as well as state troopers pulled up shop, lights and sirens, actually heading out of this area, looking to go to another area. Now, we've watched state police helicopter searching a spot that looks like it's near the square in Red Lion, and this is the man that they're looking for, 42-year-old Robert Vicosa. Police in Baltimore County just confirming to us about a half hour ago, he is a former Baltimore County police officer, a database saying he rise to the ranks of sergeant. However, we're also told that he was terminated, fired back in August from that department. Now, police saying that he abducted these two girls, 6 and 7 years old. Those two girls, his daughter. However, he apparently did that at gunpoint at a home in nearby Windsor Township. He apparently entered that home at gunpoint and held up a woman in that home, eventually stealing her car and then stealing those two children. Now, the police have been looking for him for the better part of 3+ hours, and they focused that investigation for several hours right here along Boxwood Road. Again, as you can see behind me, a dark road just moments ago, police pulling out of this area and relocating that search, lights and signs. So we're going to continue to follow this in search of the possibility that they may have discovered where either the children are or the 42-year-old is. Of course, we're going to keep up to date on this, bring you the very latest that becomes available. It's the very latest from here live in Red Lion. Joel D., back to you.
Yeah, great information there, guys. This is changing almost by the minute. And so make sure you're staying with CBS 21 as we continue to follow these developments. This is a breaking news situation. We're going to check back in with our reporters as soon as they have anything new for us. In the meantime, you can check out CBS21.com or our social media pages. It's been another long day of looking for those two sisters from York County taken, police say, by their father. Good evening, everybody. I'm Joel D. Smith. Tomorrow morning, we're expecting to hear our next official update, but right now they are still working around the clock trying to capture former Baltimore County police officers Robert Vicosa and Tia Bynum. She is now facing at least one count of false imprisonment. Earlier today, York Area Regional Police Chief Tim Damon making a public appeal for the girls' safe return.
Everyone knows where Robert, Gianna, and Amina are currently located. And this is a call to action to the community to help us in their safe return.
So there you are. You're looking at them at 7-year-old Gianna, 6-year-old Amina Vicosa. If you see the girls, call the York Area Regional Police. That number's on your screen, or as always, 911. So police tell us yesterday Vicosa held a York County woman at gunpoint as he was looking for help while on the run. And tonight, we're hearing from her as she tells our Nick Volturo what it was like to see a wanted man and talk to him for hours.
It was a chilling experience for Barbara Hummer.
Before he leaves, I think he's going to shoot me.
Barbara says around 10 a.m. Tuesday, she was in her driveway on Hudson Road when she spotted a car partially submerged inside the canal.
The guy stepped out of the camper with a towel wrapped around him, with a gun on me, and kind of like, don't talk, don't say nothing.
She identifies the man as Robert Vicosa. He had his two daughters with him, 7-year-old Gianna and 6-year-old Amina.
He said he had his two daughters in the camper. He called them out. And then I said, well, if you just want clean, dry clothes, they're up at the house.
Barbara even offered Vicosa both cash and her car to leave.
He said, ma'am, I don't want your money and I don't want your car. He said, I just want dry clothes and to keep my girls warm.
Held hostage for hours, she describes his demeanor as composed.
He never raised his voice to me. He never yelled.
She spent hours talking with the former Baltimore cop.
He said, I want to get him away from my wife's family.
While also striking up a conversation with his daughters.
And I asked the girls, I said, is your daddy going to hurt me? And they said, no, my daddy's nice.
Once Vicosa retreated to make a phone call, Barbara escaped into the house, locking herself inside.
And I took my shotgun and went upstairs. And he pounded and wanted in, and come on, let me in, Bart. And I said, nope, just take the car and go. Just take the car and go.
And while being held at gunpoint was terrifying,
going through my mind is, he's not going to let me live.
For Barbara, it pales in comparison to the trauma Vicosa's daughters are suffering.
Drop them off any place, you know. So they're sweet girls, very sweet.
Now, Barbara says she's fortunate that the entire situation was able to be resolved peacefully, and what she's really hoping for is a peaceful resolution for the entire family. Reporting live in York County, Nick Volturo, CBS 21 News.
Great story, Nick. Thank you so much. So let's look one more time right here. Police want you to keep your eye out for this vehicle. The search for Tia Bynum's car, which was missing from her home. This may be the car used to transport the kids at this point. It's a black 2013 Lexus GS 350, similar to the one you see on your screen. The PA license plate is KPK 2076. So we've been combing through the court documents, listening closely to the investigators, and it's all shedding more light on the actual timeline of the last 4+ days. Here's what we know so far. Robert Vicosa's spree of violence started over the weekend at the family home. For more than 24 hours, his estranged wife telling police that Vicosa assaulted her before taking off with his 2 daughters, 7-year-old Gianna and 6-year-old Amina. After serving a search warrant at the home Monday, police pinging Robert Vicosa's phone, leading them to the house of friend and fellow Baltimore County Sergeant Tia Bynum.
She was, we would say, less than forthcoming with all the information that we needed. She did take the interview. We did not search her house at that point. We were not granted that consent.
The search continuing until Tuesday, midday, when a woman along Houston Road Facebook messages her son, saying a man is holding her hostage. Vicosa allegedly accosting the woman at gunpoint, stealing her car.
At this point, we have these 2 young ladies are still missing. Mr. Vicosa is still on the run. We, at this point, don't know where he's at.
That stolen Volkswagen Jetta popping up Tuesday afternoon in Red Lion. York Area Regional Police and State Police surrounding the car in a nearby house. The State Police helicopter flying overhead within minutes, but no signs of Vicosa or the kids.
In your heart, you know that what you're doing is not right. You are a father. You are a father to these 2 young ladies.
One last attempt to ping Vicosa's phone, putting him back at Tia Bynum's house. Armed with the search warrant, police raiding the place. Unfortunately, Robert Vicosa, his daughters Tia Bynum and Bynum's Lexus, all gone.
We don't know definitively whether they are in that car or definitively whether they are with Tia, but we can say Tia is not in her home. Both girls are still missing. That car is missing, and so is Mr. Vicosa.
And that is where we stand tonight. York Area Regional Police have set up this tip line for anyone with information on Robert Vicosa, Tia Bynum, those missing girls. That is the number on your screen right now. And as always, once again, you can call 911 if you see them. But police say don't approach Vicosa on your own. We'll continue to provide extensive team coverage in the search for Amina and Gianna, the 6 and 7-year-olds abducted. And authorities say Robert Vicosa, the girl's father, is armed and dangerous. Watch CBS 21 on air, online, to keep you up to date with the very latest.
CBS 21 News begins with breaking news.
The search for Robert Vicosa is over. It ended right here in Smithsburg, Maryland. WJZ Baltimore reporting that he is dead following a self-inflicted gunshot wound. But there are other fatalities as well to tell you about, including his alleged accomplice, Tia Bynum. She is another former Baltimore police officer, and one of his 2 daughters, Gianna Vicosa, also dead. We are told that Amina Vicosa, the 6-year-old, was shot, but at this point has survived her injuries. And this is all happening while we are waiting right now a news conference to tell us more information. You're looking at a map right here to give you a feel for where this all finally ended. This long 4-day stretch trying to find these 4 ends in this area just across the Pennsylvania border into Maryland. And now you're looking live at Pikesville, Maryland, where we are waiting this news conference from the Maryland State Police to give us more information, the timeline, what actually happened here, and hopefully we can get a positive news on the condition of Amina. That is the 6-year-old girl who we're told was shot but did survive, the only one surviving of those 4 that have been really the targets of this search for such a long time. Once again, thanks for joining us, everybody. We're waiting to hear that. As soon as we get the information on that it's starting, we will get right to that news conference. In the meantime, thanks for joining us. And we also want to get out to one of our reporters, CBS 21's Samantha York. She's in Smithsburg, where this 4-day search came to a tragic end. Samantha, we're going to send it out to you right now as we await more on this news conference. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Jody, it certainly is a tragic end to the search. Now, police are confirming to our sister station WJZ that at least 3 people in this incident have been killed. Those 3 people include Robert Vicosa, Gianna Vicosa, and Tia Bynum. Again, that's confirmed by police, and we're learning new details. But let's take an aerial look at the scene just a few hours ago, where you can see that there was a car covered by a tarp that's believed to be the gray Ford Vicosa and his former colleague Bynum were most recently driving in after carjacking it from a man in Cockeysville Wednesday. Police have been searching for Vicosa since Monday after he allegedly assaulted his estranged wife at their family home in York County and abducted their 6- and 7-year-old daughters. Investigators also believe Vicosa, a former Baltimore County police officer who was terminated in August, has been getting assistance from Baltimore County Police Sergeant Tia Bynum. Bynum has since been suspended from her position due to this ongoing search. Now, as you said, Joel D., we are awaiting this police conference. It is supposed to start any minute, so we will be bringing you the latest from there. We have a crew on scene, and we'll be sharing more from that, Joel D.
Okay, our continuing coverage now of this situation. Robert Vicosa, his 2 daughters, and his alleged accomplice, Tia Bynum, has come to an unfortunate conclusion. We got Michael Gorsinger. He's been following all this from York County. Unfortunately, Michael, I'm going to be the one to tell you this. We just got confirmation from our affiliate in Baltimore, WJZ, that everyone is dead in this situation. Mina, the 6-year-old girl, initially had survived her injuries, but now she's passed away as well. So let's go live to Michael Gorsinger. You've been with these investigators throughout. They were telling this gentleman, who they did know at some point as a police officer, to end this as peacefully as possible, but that did not happen.
Joel D., really the worst of worst outcomes. And in fact, although this breaking news comes at about 6:15 at night, investigators had a pretty good idea, probably about 3:30 or 4 o'clock. The rumors floating around York Area Regional Police were that unfortunately all 4 people, including the 2 children, were dead in this case. And now begins the healing process. In fact, inside of these doors right now, officers gathering to talk to counselors to try and debrief about the situation. Obviously, they've been intimately involved with this case since Sunday afternoon, and it's really just ramped up as they continued that search, of course, for those 4 people, including those 2 missing girls, 7-year-old and a 6-year-old. Emotion certainly running high. In fact, just a few minutes ago, York Area Regional Lieutenant Ken Schollenberger saying this is the worst case that he's ever had to deal with in his 25 years of law enforcement experience. Before that, the York County District Attorney Dave Sunday coming out with the police chief. You can see the emotion on their face. These are people that deal with this day in and day out, crime and the result of these crimes, and yet they are still moved by the end result of these unfortunate circumstances. Certainly going to take a few days to get through this. Live in York County, Michael Gorsinger, CBS 21 News.